power foods, and they only cook in 2 minutes. So it doesn't take that long to make. The recipe requires you to have 4 ounces. These come in 3-ounce bundles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one, and it's nice because they are pretty much portion controlled here. I'm going to take one, and I'm just going to take a little bit. Of course, we would hope that you would measure a little bit better than I'm measuring right now. And someone's getting a phone call. If this was my meeting, I would have you get up and dance. I see some members in my class, and they know that I make you get up and dance. All right, so 2 minutes, those are going to go. Cathie, you're just going to keep an eye on that. And while that's going now, again, this is the second meal. We're now going to take our second bag of coleslaw. Again, the recipe stated that you have this tremendous amount of cabbage that you can cut. If you like to pull out your Cuisinart, not a problem. But I like things, as Cathie would say, easy peasy. And so we're going to do it this way. And we're just putting in a teaspoon of oil. That's all that this requires. And now somebody just got a voice message there. Okay, and I think you're going to be using that. So while this is heating, I just want to tell you something about Weight Watchers. And you can see we're using a lot of vegetables here today. One of the things that we like to tell you, and this is really the backbone of Weight Watchers, is that a good meal or a good shopping experience should take you around the perimeter of the supermarket. So everything, at least on my end today, comes from the perimeter of the supermarket. Certainly Cathie's going to be doing a little fun thing and a little dessert. The perimeter of the supermarket is where we have all of our power foods. Everything that you see on the in-between aisles of the supermarket is what we consider to be a processed food. So you certainly can get a lot more from your power foods, the perimeter of the supermarket. Those are always going to be higher in fiber and protein, and the ones in those in-between aisles are going to be higher, unfortunately, in carbs and fat. So think about how your supermarket shopping looks when you do go to Wegmans or wherever you are shopping. So we're taking a whole bag of this cabbage mixture, and I am then going to add, and again, this is an addendum of the recipe. I felt that this lo mein needed a little bit more color. And Cathie, I think you can probably take the noodles off now and drain them. The strainer is right here. And also, what you're noticing is that I have in here some shiitake mushrooms. Has anybody ever eaten a shiitake mushroom? Yes? No? Okay. Shiitake mushrooms are a wonderful meat alternative if you are a vegetarian. They are very meaty. They're very high in iron. They're actually really, really good. And I was happy to see that they were included in this recipe today because they give this a really nice texture. And if you're trying to sneak them in, they kind of taste like the steak. So if you do have somebody that doesn't like mushrooms, once you cut the steak, they're never going to know. Okay? All right. So Cathie, I think you can take one of those off, and you can just start to slice it.
Now, normally when you're doing your steak, you would let it rest for 5 minutes. In the interest of time, we're going to go ahead and cut it. And with the flank steaks, if we see what I'm doing here, I should probably explain, letting your steak rest allows the juices to remain in the steak and not on the plate. And that's always a good thing because, is my mic not working?
It's weird.
Okay.
Weird.
Usually I never have a problem with people hearing me. No, my mic's not working. Okay, so there it goes. I have to yell.
Yeah, you have to be really loud.
Oh, okay. That's not like me at all.
Maybe we should switch mics.
No, people that know me, they're always like, oh my God, calm down. So, at any rate, back to the steak. The steak, you really are going to want to let that heat rest because you're going to want to let those juices disperse back into the steak instead of running out all over really be using a serrated knife. A serrated knife would work much better. Like a bread knife or something like that. But we're going to cut it in nice thin strips. And hopefully, if you plan this out right, you're going to get 16 strips out of 1 pound that you take off of the grill here. So 16 strips. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, with magic of
16
TV.
strips. And then it's going to be 4 strips per person. I didn't quite count that, but you can cut them in half if you need to.
Now, again, because I felt that this recipe, I thought lacked a little bit of color, I'm using what was left over from our first meal with our Asian slaw. And I wouldn't expect that you would serve this the night after you had our first flank steak. That maybe you can, this can stay at least for another 3 or 4 days. But because I have leftover carrots and I do have leftover scallions, this doesn't change the point value at all of our meal. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take, I don't know, while Cathie was talking, you might have seen me make a marinade of hoisin sauce, light soy sauce, light meaning light in sodium. And also I have in here, oh, the one main ingredient that I forgot to add a little hotsy-totsy in here is 1 teaspoon, might be a little hot, of green jalapeno sauce. And,
Now we have their attention.
yeah.
Wow.
And for some reason, and I don't know why, because this is a brand new bottle, it doesn't want to come out. So, there we go. All right, 1 teaspoon. Again, but it does smell it. Okay. Now, that's meal number 1.
Can you smell it yet? It smells.
Yes, I know, I'm smelling it here, I don't know. Now, we're
Make sure
going
you come up with
to mix this around. And Cathie, if you would just hand me, please, the,
Okay, ready?
yep, the noodles. So these soba noodles, I have to tell you, they're thin. Probably should have given them a little bit of a rinse. Now again, just because this is the magic of TV, okay, and I'll play with this a little bit more. Cathie is going to give us, she's going to cut that steak a little bit, and this is your second meal. Again, we would have used 1 complete half for that meal, and 1 complete half for this meal. I made this the other day. We were 4 adults and 2 children. We had 1 pound of steak. I still have left over. And again, you don't have to, yep, just pile it in there. So the meat now is going to sit in here, and again, we can see it's a little rare, so I'm going to cook it a little bit more. And Cathie is going to go over to dessert. And this is meal number 2 that's completed, and you'll see it in its final form in a second. Does anybody have any questions before we start dessert? Yes?
If you don't like the one sauce and hot sauce, can you leave it out or do you get something else?
You absolutely don't need to use this, and if you want to, you possibly could use a little red pepper flake if you want the heat but don't want that, or you could leave it out. The taste is up to you. You want to throw garlic in here. Notice why I haven't thrown into here. There's no salt, okay? You're getting enough of that from your soy sauce. Oops. And also no pepper. We've used ginger, we've used garlic, so, you know, this is a recipe of many, many different tastes here. Any other questions? Yes?
I have a general question, because that looks so good and it's lunchtime, and I want to stand to Weight Watchers. Is there somewhere in the fair that you guys recommend to eat?
Well,
Healthy?
this is a very unbiased opinion here. There are a lot of salad places. I might defer right now to one of my members that are in the room that is an everyday fair goer, Diane. Do you have a place that you recommend? Because you said to me today that this is your 4th or 5th day at the fair?
No, I came Friday, Saturday, and today my 3rd day.
Okay, and have you had any meals at the fair?
Yeah.
Okay, would you like to recommend a, don't say like something bad now, okay?
They could go to Baker's
Chicken coop.
They could go to Gianelli's in you get a turkey sausage,
Mm-hmm.
sandwich, that's only 7 points.
That's
with
right.
the roll.
That's right. Oh, I have to
Or
bring
6
this.
points with the roll.
6 points with the roll. Baker's chicken coop, you can get a side salad. No?
I've had a Greek salad out here and it was delicious, but you have to ask them to put the tiki sauce on the side and then just measure out 2 tablespoons.
Which is a good thing to do all the time, is to have that sauce on the side, because this way you can control it, okay? Again, there are no no's on Weight Watchers, so even if you were going to stop and have a fried Oreo, we know that those are only 3 points and you can count that, but will it fill you up like a meal like this? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. All right, I'm going to turn this over to Cathie now, and then of course if we have any time afterwards, we'll be happy to answer some more questions. Oh,
That mushroom, I never heard of. Where would I?
shiitake.
Yes.
You get it right next to any of the other mushrooms in Wegmans or Price Chopper, wherever you might shop. And the nice thing is that they always have them sliced. Also, if you want to keep them in the house to do any sort of meal like this, but you don't really want to, like, you never know when you're going to use them, they do come dry, and then you can rehydrate them, and so they will stay certainly for a long time.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah, we love Wegmans for all the prep that they do. You can see we have a lot of Wegmans products on the counter here because they will do the prep for you. And if there's one thing that we know, we Weight Watcher people know, is that convenience is worth its weight in gold. We need to have that prep sometimes because if we want to make it less difficult, less of a struggle for us to stay eating healthy foods all the time. And this helps a lot. Do you agree? The extra prep that you don't have to do?
No question about it. And as you can see, we just made here 2 meals, 2 dinners in less than half an hour. So that was it.